One thing that I'm noticing, and that a lot of my millennial friends, some Gen Z friends, absolutely now as they're entering the workforce, is the return to work, the return to office fight, because it's nothing but a fight right now. I've not really heard of like anywhere that it's going smoothly, that everybody gets along and agrees on this. I fundamentally, I fundamentally don't understand why Gen X and boomers want to go back to the office so badly. I flat out don't get it. Do you have?
Yeah, I do actually, because realize that a lot of these Gen X, well, okay, so Gen X and boomers, that's what they understand. That's what they grew up with, right? And it comes down to a matter of comfort and trust. They're much more comfortable when they can see everybody at their desk doing their work, etc. What they don't seem to understand is that the pandemic pretty much proved everyone doesn't have to be there all the time. And I think the best situations right now, the ones that seem to be going really well, are some sort of a hybrid, right? You go in Wednesdays, you go in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's actually very important for an organization, for people to come together to sort of get the culture and the flavor of who we are and what we're about and what we care about. And I think that that teamwork and camaraderie and stuff is harder to do remotely. But to say everybody has to be in all the time when clearly work gets done when people aren't in all the time is a miscalculation on their part. And I mean, I'm just going to call it like it is. It's a lot of old guys, often white guys, just exerting their power and saying, this is how I did it, so now you have to do it this way.
Yep.
That's the only logic, frankly, that I can see behind it.
That's,
yeah, honestly and truly. There is one part of it that I do think is interesting, and that is, in the banking world, they make you take a 2-week vacation to find out, 2 consecutive weeks to find out, like, if you're embezzling or if you're doing something wrong. Like, they make, back in my day, if you were in the banking world and you had any control over any of the money flow, you had to leave for 2 weeks vacation so they could literally check and see. So, I mean, I do get that there has to be some types of control. For example, in the HIPAA world, if there's control over data and who can have the access to data and all those things. Again, I think Microsoft proves with SharePoint and other software, you can work around that. So I don't know, it's a long-winded way of saying I think it's just a bunch of old guys fighting for a world that they understand.
That is a great sentence. It's very telling, fighting for a world that they understand. And in a way, it's almost like, we've talked about the different generations being a little bit more empathetic towards each other, and realize that fear is a big part of it, and that everybody's having these big emotions. And I think this plays directly into that. I mean, we have to sort of realize that these older generations are not necessarily just trying to be jerks. They're not just trying to be rude and, awful. They're fighting for a world that they understand. They're fighting for, this is the way I had success. This is the way I saw things work smoothly. So we need to get back to that in order to find success and to not lose their jobs and to keep everything going.
Exactly.
Whereas I do kind of see the need for them to adapt a little bit more, though, and just
it's like anything. The dinosaurs went extinct because they couldn't adapt. And this happens with every generation, and it has for the past, since the Industrial Revolution, if we want to look at it historically. If the older generation can't adapt, they get pushed out. That's the way it is.
Yeah.